Josh Dibb, aka Deacon, can be seen as the Ringo of Animal Collective, the member of a revered psychedelic pop quartet that gets the least amount of love. But Deacon's attendance in Animal Collective's music has been pulled in many directions because of many reasons, from self-doubt to focusing on Sleep Cycle, to not knowing if there was a future in his music career. The Deacon that we see today in Animal Collective's attendance should be seen as an artist that has been refined by a lot of personal accomplishments and personal doubts and time in his head. The members of Animal Collective seem to share that characteristic about themselves. They tend to learn a lot from the environment around them, and the early years of their career prove to be very critical years in terms of their musical development, and not only that, but just sort of mental stability and mental development as well. And Joshua Dibb is by no means any exception to that rule. As a very underrated and probably the most overlooked member of Animal Collective, along with geologist, Josh Dibb has a backstory that is super interesting, and everything that he has done for Animal Collective has proven to be a significant role in what has kept the group together in so many ways. So welcome guys to a video all about Deacon, aka Josh Dibb of Animal Collective. I am so excited to finally put this video out for you guys. Thank you for just sticking around throughout my hiatus, and thank you to all the new subscribers that came along. Let's get straight into this video. So Joshua Caleb Dibb, aka Deacon, was born on January 6th, 1978. His hometown is Orange, California, and also known by his moniker Deacon, Josh Dibb is an American musician who co-founded the experimental pop band Animal Collective. He is the most infrequent member of the collective, appearing on only 5 of the 11 albums, and in 2016 he made a solo debut with the album Sleep Cycle, which we will definitely talk a lot about. But to understand who Deacon is a little bit better, let's jump into his personal life a little bit more. Dibb was born on January 6th, like I said, 1978 in Orange, California. He began writing and recording music with his childhood friend Noah Lennox, aka Panda Bear, in 1991. While at the Park School of Baltimore, Joshua Dibb met David Portner, aka A.V. Tear, and Brian White, aka Geologist, when they asked him to join their band, Automine. Josh introduced Noah and Dave to Brian, and over the next few years, the four spent time playing music together and sharing tapes of music they made individually. After high school, Panda Bear and Deacon went to Boston, where Deacon attended Brandeis University. Meanwhile, A.V. Tear and Geologist moved to New York and attended NYU and Columbia University, respectively. After months of playing, the band finally settled on the name Animal Collective. After touring with the group from 2004 to the end of 2006 and recording 2 albums, Feels and Strawberry Jam, along with the Water Curses EP and the visual album Oddsack, Deacon personally decided to take a break from the increasingly rigorous touring schedule that Animal Collective was starting to take on. After not participating in the recording of the album Merriweather Post Pavilion, he rejoined the band live on April 11, 2011 in Petaluma, California after a 3-year absence. But to elaborate on Deacon's absence a little bit more and what was going on behind the scenes while he was gone, one can kind of take note of the fact that Josh's internal creative battle with himself can date long before Animal Collective truly came together. In an interview with Ravlin magazine, Deacon goes on to explain that while he was trying to record his solo album, he went through just like a lot of self-doubt, and he goes on to explain that during one particular studio session he really just felt, I guess, the weight on his shoulders of how far he can really take this creative outlet that is music. So Deacon goes on to state, "I've been struggling to work on my own music since I was a kid. I started writing songs when I was 12 or 13, and that's around the time Noah and I started playing together. In high school, Noah and I were collaborating, or Dave and I were collaborating, or me, Noah, Dave, and Brian and I increasingly used their brilliance as a way to sublimate myself to them. Once we started legitimately being a band in 2000, I had hours and hours of partially realized ideas that I hadn't followed through with. Taking a break from the band in 2007, my intention was to start working on my own stuff." In December 2009, Deacon raised $25,000 in hopes that he could play at a music festival and to hopefully also use those funds to record an album in early 2010. After playing the music festival, Deacon played 5 shows in Europe, including a few shows while opening for Panda Bear. Unfortunately though, Deacon did face some criticism for taking nearly 7 years to finish his debut solo album, but the project was pushed back for so long for reasons other than financial backing. In the same interview with Ravlin magazine, Josh Dibb elaborates by stating that the actual recording process was actually not that much time. I spent 5 days in the studio with Nicholas recording 2 tracks, and I spent a month on my my own finishing it. The process that took so long was really an internal, emotional, and psychological grappling with my tendency towards a dark view of what I was trying to work on. It was really a matter of sitting down and forcing myself to commit to a process, which was something I avoided for a really long time. On January 7th, 2016, Joshua Dibb sent backers of his Kickstarter campaign an announcement that his long-awaited solo album was finally complete. The album, titled Sleep Cycle, was released on Bandcamp on April 6, 2016. Just Am was the first track shared from the album, accompanied by a music video. And to just kind of dive in a little bit as to how I feel about Josh Dibb, or Deacon, and his role within Animal Collective's music. Personally, I have also overlooked Josh many times, but reading up on what he went through personally, and then just like also considering the time that I started to listen to Animal Collective, which was right after Centipede Hurts had just dropped, I realized that there was a lot more to each one of these members, not so much because of how crazy and sporadic their music was, but mainly because I started to realize that this music could only be made by people that had gone through a lot of self journeys or a lot of time just in their heads. I think Deacon should be really recognized for his role during the Centipede Hurts era. Even though he was there for albums beforehand, I think he made really awesome contributions to Animal Collective during the Centipede era because of his strong performances and contributions to songs like Amanita, especially the live version. And the best example of this is definitely to go back and watch the Terminal 5 New York City performance, and just like seeing how Deacon is able to use the guitar to make sounds that you would never think could come from a guitar. He uses a lot of unorthodox guitar structures and sounds that make you assume that, well, like I said, anything but a guitar is making that sound, but it just goes to show that it's kind of how Panda Bear is able to so easily adapt using many instruments to play a role in Animal Collective. I think Deacon does a really good job as that as well. Not to discredit people like A.V. Terror, which can be on the keyboard and the guitar at the same time, but Josh definitely does a really good job at just adding to the weird, background samples and noises that tend to go on within Animal's music. I would like to hear what you guys think all about Deacon. Leave a comment down below on what your favorite Deacon moment is, whether it's just like a live performance or just like something significant that he did during a recording. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for sticking around for this video. I have some really exciting news. I actually recently started a podcast, so if you would like to check it out, I kind of talk about more about my personal life, what I've been up to, and just like music that I've been listening to throughout the week, the significance that it's played. And not only that, but if you would like to support this channel, if you would like to support the podcast, I've included a little feature that lets you just be like a monthly sponsor for the podcast and for this channel. There's a $1, $5, and $10 donation, so if either of those sound appealing, please feel free to support the channel in any way. Apple Pay, Google Pay, just a regular debit card is all accepted, and it is a monthly thing that you are going to be charged for. Rest assured that anybody who decides to sponsor this channel or the podcast will definitely be well recognized. I'm starting to brainstorm just some ideas of how I can give back and maybe just give those people recognition. Ultimately, that's only if you guys are up for it. Don't feel pressured to have to contribute in any way. Just you watching, liking, favoriting, whatever you need to do is already enough. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to start a new series on another hip hop group, which I will announce down the road, and I will also start a new series on the band called Always. If you guys have heard of them, they're a really good indie pop band. I think you guys would enjoy the series. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video.